morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, you're welcome here. This is the Dzogchen Foundation, Dzogchen Center weekly meditation town hall. And I'm Mel, your technical host today. Lama Roger Walsh will be leading the proceedings. First, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. One is, as you'll see, we're approaching October and our first in-person retreat in quite a while. I've been registered. I think that for those who have not experienced the retreat with Lama Surya, or especially those who've discovered him within the last few years, the COVID period, it's hard to describe quite how moving and effective these retreats are. So we would highly recommend that you register now and make sure you've got your calendar set for that retreat. Now, we are also beginning soon the series of master classes with Lama Surya. You can sign up for one or more or register for the whole series. We've been doing them, he's been doing them yearly for a little while, and it's really an opportunity to go deeper, take your practice a little deeper, get your understanding a little deeper. There are 2 hours each every, one Sunday a month for 8 months. Other than that, we sure hope you become a member of the foundation, donate to help us keep the tradition going. And with that, I will turn over to Lama Roger Walsh.
Thanks very much, Mel. Welcome, everyone. And I'd like to echo much of what Mel said. Particularly maybe about the retreat, because retreats are all the forms of practice, perhaps the most intense and accelerating of all practices and all transformational approaches. As you have probably found in your own daily meditation, there's a kind of mental momentum. You start a sitting. Maybe you've had a busy day, the mind's a bit frenetic, and you sit for half an hour or so, and gradually over that time, the mind settles and quiets, gets a little calmer, more concentrated, more clear. Maybe some of the painful emotions or little challenges of the day kind of begin to fade, and you find yourself feeling a gentle joy. And then if you were to do another sitting a few minutes after that, you wouldn't quite take off from where you ended, but you would notice a mental momentum. And that is particularly dramatic in retreat. There's just a mental momentum that builds each hour of practice and each day of practice. And it becomes quite powerful. And sometimes said that a week of retreat, a full-time silent retreat, can have similar impact as sitting daily for a year. And I think that's not entirely, it's not really an exaggeration. There really is something to the power of accumulated practice and condensed practice, and that mental momentum that builds over that time. Of course, daily sitting and retreat sitting each have their own unique kinds of benefits, but they complement. And after you've done a retreat, then I think I can pretty much guarantee you'll find your daily sitting has just moved to another level. So you enter very distinct states of mind, clearer, calmer, etc. during the retreat. Some of that fades, of course, when you go back into the world, but some stays. And I think you'll definitely notice your daily practice is deepened as a result of any retreat practice you do. So I hope to go. I hope to see some of you. And but we also now have the opportunity of practicing together. So let's do that. And let's just take a moment to get here. Maybe we can find a nice, comfortable posture for yourselves. And would you take a few slow, deep breaths? Breathing in and letting go. Become aware of the body. Feel the body posture. And just be open to the totality of your experience in this moment. Well, let's just take a moment to set an intention for our sitting. Any sitting is kind of contextualized and directed by the aspiration we bring to it. So I'd like to do two things. I'd like to do both a traditional refuge and bodhicitta, and also give you an invitation to feel into the deepest aspiration for yourself at this time. So maybe Mel can put the refuge and bodhicitta up for us. The traditional twofold aspiration or prayer or request. And it's a two-part thing here of first going for refuge, meaning going to those aspects of existence in which we can trust. We can trust to lead us in the direction of the fullest, most wholesome, most blessed and blessing life. So it says in Buddha, Dharma, and supreme spiritual community, we go for refuge until fully enlightened by the power of all six perfections, from generosity to non-dual wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize Buddhahood. So it's an invitation or a reminder to turn to the Buddha, the awakened nature, our awakened nature, to the Dharma, the way things are, also the teachings, and to each other, everyone on the spiritual community, knowing that everyone here shares the same aspiration to awaken, to heal, to learn, to grow, to mature, to purify, to be of service. And then there's the bodhicitta, bodhicitta, translating as awakening being, aspiration. And basically, it's an aspiration to awaken as fully as possible so that we may serve and awaken others as fully as possible. And how do we do that? Well, the traditional way is through cultivating 6 qualities of heart and mind, the 6 so-called perfections, cultivating ethics, generosity, dedication or commitment or zeal, I'm blocking on one. One is concentration, one is transcendent wisdom. Can't remember what I'm blocking. Anyway, so we practice these for the sake of all beings. And for the sake of all beings, may we realize Buddhahood, the highest realization that anyone is capable of. So that's the prayer. And now I'd like to, that's the classic one, and just let it wash through you. What a beautiful aspiration it is. And now I invite you to feel into your own heart-mind and see what aspiration most calls you at this moment. What is it that most calls you? What is it you would like to give your life to? Might be to be more loving, grow in wisdom, compassion. But see what it is that really calls to you as your own heart calling, your own aspiration. What will serve you today during this time we're together as your aspiration? Good. And you don't have to do anything with that. You just let that feel into that aspiration. Does it have a particular feeling tone? Do you feel it somewhere in your body? Do you feel a particular body posture that goes with it? Good. Just feel into it, and just simply, you don't have to work at it, but just feel into the experience of that aspiration. And in feeling into it, one of the beauties of awareness is awareness just when an aspiration or a positive quality is brought into awareness, it tends to expand and grow in the face of awareness when held gently in awareness. It's one of the magical qualities of awareness. And conversely, when a painful, destructive mind state is brought into awareness and just allowed to be bathed in awareness, then it tends to unravel and release and let go. Good. And let's move through some practices here. Perhaps extending our sense of the aspiration for awakening. But first, let's begin with some relaxation. So I invite you to just find a posture in which the back is relatively erect and the rest of the body relaxed. And it's that combination of a relatively erect spine and relaxation in the rest of the body, which produces the combination of alertness and calm that is so conducive to practice. So be aware of the body. Let's see how relaxed we can get and then move into the practice. So be in that posture, erect spine, everything else relaxed, just hanging from the spine. And take some slow, deep breaths. And so notice that as you breathe in, the inhalation is an active process involving muscle contraction. But the exhalation, the breathing out, can be simply a letting go. So you breathe in and let go. Breathe in and let go. Breathe in and let go. Good. And notice as you breathe in, and then as you just allow the air to fall out, there's an automatic tendency for the muscles around the chest and shoulders to release and relax with each exhalation. So you breathe in and let go, and just feel that wave of relaxation around the chest and shoulders. And notice that that relaxation tends to extend down into the abdomen and pelvis. Out into the arms. Up into the neck and head. So just with each exhalation, you're just letting go and allowing that sense of relaxation to spread down into the legs. And notice the experience of what a relaxed body feels like. There may be a tingling throughout. Just notice that, what it's like. Store this experience away so that you can come back to it more easily. Good. Okay, now the trap with relaxation is if one becomes sleepy, so be sure to keep the spine relatively erect. Good. Okay, and then from this relaxed place, let's work with loving kindness, remembering that the aspiration, the bodhisattva aspiration to awaken us and mature and grow and actualize as fully as possible in order to be of service to all others, to be an optimal instrument of service, is born out of love and care for all others. So one thing we can do is just to strengthen that experience of love and care. And there are multiple ways to do that, but let's work with a visualization and bring to mind someone you really care for, who loves you deeply, and you love. And just bring them to mind, perhaps see them in front of you. Think of them. Might be a child, might be a partner, a loved one, a benefactor. And just feel the sense of care and warmth there. And it's a little easier for that warmth to flower when we're in a relaxed place. Our defenses come down. We're just relaxed and open to that feeling of love and care for this person. And now let that love and care extend to everyone on this call, in this community right now. Just feel, just as they are extending and wishing good for others, so you too wish everyone on this call, wish them good. You may even wish, if you want, to say a phrase to yourself, such as, may you be happy, loving, and loved. May you be happy, joyful, loving, loved. And see if repeating a phrase like that, gently repeating, strengthens that feeling of love and care. So here for each one of our Sangha members on this call, may you be happy, joyful, loving, loved. And then think of the people in your neighborhood around you and just extend love and care to them. All the people around you in the neighborhood, just opening to them, and may you be happy, joyful, loving, loved, wishing them well. Wishing every one of these people well. And now extend your circle of love and care out across the countryside, maybe across your city, or even your state. Just wishing everyone here how wonderful if they could be happy and loving and loved. Wishing that for them. May you be happy, joyful, loving, loved. And now extend your circle of care, of love, to everyone in the country. And just begin by thinking how wonderful if everyone could be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. The country would be entirely transformed. every person would be both receiving and offering love, care, warmth in every interaction. Beautiful. Now allow your circle of love and care to extend around the world. So may all people be happy, joyful, loving, loved. Wishing every person on the planet, embracing them in your good wishes, your love, your warmth, your care. How utterly wonderful it would be if every person could be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. What a different world it would be. What a different experience it would be to interact with everyone, go out into the world. And if you continue this practice, you'll notice one of the qualities of love, as with each of the virtues, is it spontaneously wants to overflow its boundaries. So why would we exclude any conscious creature from our love and care? So if you were to continue this practice, you would realize spontaneously that, of course, you want not just all humans, but all conscious creatures to be free of pain and you want to love them all. So may all beings be happy, joyful, loving, loved. So embracing every conscious creature in our good wishes. May all beings be happy, joyful, loving, loved. And just allow yourself to recognize that in the depths of our being, this is what we actually want for everyone, ourselves included. When we let go our fear and anger and jealousy and pride, what we find is this natural desire. What could we want more in our relationships and for all people, including ourselves, than to be happy, joyful, loving, and loved? That is, we discover that this is what we truly want for people in the depths of our being. At first, it starts as a practice, and then it becomes a recognition. This is what I truly want for all people, for all beings. And now, from that, just take another moment to be aware of that boundlessness. And what we're wanting to do is just feel and offer love and well-being to all beings without hesitation, without reservation. And there's something extremely powerful about wishing well for everyone in an utterly inclusive way. It breaks down the barriers and blocks in the mind so that the mind itself is better able to fill with the quality of love and care. So may all beings, without hesitation, without reservation, may all be loving, loved, happy, joyful, including, of course, ourselves. May all beings be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. And now, see if you can do a twofold thing. That is, without necessarily contracting your awareness from that open, expansive, inclusive, loving place. Let that be the context, but also bring your attention particularly back to our community. You might look at the screen if you wish. No need to, but if you wish, but just be aware of the community, our community, these people on this call. And wish that every one of them be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. How beautiful if every one of our community here today could be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. I just wish that to each and every person in our community today. And now open to the fact that every single person in this community is wishing that you be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. Let in that fact. Every single person here today, right now, is wishing that you be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. Everyone is wishing that you be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. How beautiful. How beautiful. Let it in. Let it fill your entire body, mind. Every person here, right now, is wishing that you be happy, joyful, loving, and loved. Ah. Beautiful. Yeah. And now I'm going to invite you back into communication with our community. And I'm going to suggest you don't contract away from that feeling, rather just let it be the context for your experience as we interact. So you can allow that heart glow, good wishes both given and received, to come back with you. Good. I'm going to just, it would be nice to give us our group now, our community, a chance to comment, question, dialogue. So I want to just open it up to you for your feedback, reflections, comments, questions, remembering that anything you and sharing of experience. Any time, if you share your experience, it's a gift to all of us. So please, would anyone like to comment, share, question? You'll be giving us a gift.
Lama, there's one question in the chat, and for others who'd like to raise a question now, you can raise your hand and unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Don't be shy. Let's see, something in the chat, I guess. You were saying? Can you listen? Let's see. I think there's a question there, but it's a little different from the practice we've been doing. So let's stay with the practice. David, would you like to say something?
Sorry, just a moment to share a little of my experience. Thank you so much for this practice. Not a Buddhist term, but it's my compassion practice. And I realized when I first began practicing that the really neat trick was you did a lot of healing of your own self. That was the first benefit I got. And then being able to reach out to community really helped promote an attitude of inclusion in my daily life. So that also was a benefit of doing this. My interaction with people in the community became, for me, much more pleasant, much more open. And I found that people were much more open to me because I lost a lot of judgment in my interactions because of this practice. The third phase of it is to reach out to people whose actions are unskillful and in some cases has caused huge suffering. And full disclosure, for me, this is really difficult. And even after quite a bit of practice, it's a place where it's just difficult. So I guess a question I might have would be in terms of the third phase, when the love is overflowing and I get to the point of considering those people, I feel a withdrawal or perhaps a judgment on my part. And my question would be have you discovered a technique that can help you stay in that moment of compassion, understanding, even though the deeds from unskillful behavior of whoever the subject is has caused horrific suffering. And with that, I'll bow out. Thank you so much.
Lama, we can't hear you all of a sudden.
How's that?
Oh, now that's fine.
Okay.
You might have
Okay.
to start that whole process over again because all of a sudden.
Okay. Well, well, it was very profound. Let's. Sorry about that. I think I clicked the mute button to clear my throat and stayed muted. Okay, so first off, David, I just want to acknowledge, yes, it's a great challenge for all of us. We all have people who have caused us harm or caused others a great harm, and whom it's very difficult to hold loving feelings for. So your question is a great one: how to do that? And several practices. First off, the first thing is to keep in mind that this is a practice. Holding loving kindness and or compassion, two of the great virtues for people who are difficult to work with, is a practice, and it does take time. And fortunately, the benefits are cumulative. So we work in a little in one way with them. It just slowly we take the edges off. But there are a variety of ways we can proceed. First off, it's skillful to see what our boundaries are. You know, if we bring up someone and there's just so much anger or pain around them that it overwhelms our feeling of loving kindness, then back off. You know, in this practice, we extend love and compassion along a hierarchy. We did a spatial hierarchy. That is, we started with just ourselves and then our community, and then we moved out to larger and larger groups. That's one way of extending the sense of love and care and compassion. Another way is a hierarchy of difficulty. You start with the people who are most easy to feel love for, and you just practice with them until you've developed a stronger and more continuous sense of love and care. Then you move out to the next person, perhaps from someone you love to someone who's been a benefactor is the traditional next step. After that, perhaps to some friends or acquaintances you sort of feel positive about, but you don't have a deep connection with. And then traditionally you move to a neutral person, someone, you've just maybe seen or heard of, you don't know them. And then you gradually expand to groups, and then you gradually expand to difficult people. But it's important to start at start gently with yourself. So for me, for example, the big challenge at the moment is Putin. So I just have to be very careful in working with Putin. I do really wish he could be filled with love and compassion, and I need to be sure that I can hold that and not contract in the face of holding him in awareness and so forth. So one practice is just to titrate, to work at the level where you can just keep the loving kindness going and not be completely overwhelmed. And if you feel overwhelmed by working with someone, pull back to yourself, a loved one, a family member, whatever. So that's one practice is, well, two things. One, remember this is a practice, and it develops over time. If we could love everyone unconditionally now, we wouldn't need the practice. Two, titrate, extend gradually. Don't push yourself. Don't get overwhelmed. It's fine to step back from the fire a bit. Third, work with various forms of forgiveness. For example, if someone has done, think of the, you can do this in various ways, but if someone's been unskillful and I'm judging them intensely, I find it very useful to think of what they've done and then think of what the last time I did that. and realize, well, often it wasn't so long ago. So there's a sense of our unity, our common humanity, that all of us are full of foibles and fears. Another useful strategy is one of reflection, and that is, okay, this person's been really unskillful, but what's underneath their motivation? What are they really trying to do here? What are they afraid of? Or what are they addicted to? And so understanding, if we can gain a greater understanding of the person, that tends to undercut our resentment and shift towards compassion. And the general trajectory of anger condemnation of someone is, if we initially feel anger, then we can practice forgiveness. Then we often, to the extent we understand the roots of their unskillful behavior, then we can feel compassion. So those are some ways of working with difficult people. And again, keep in mind, it's a practice. We all have our edges here. And also remember that this practice is not a sacrifice. It's at its best, it's just an overflowing of the love and care we feel for certain people, and we extend that to ourselves and to others. Yeah, thank you, David. Other sharings, comments, questions? Okay. So let's, now that we've played with cultivating loving kindness and care and compassion for all people, now let's just reflect into that. And we did our our refuge and bodhisattva aspiration before. Now let's use that motivation to power the bodhisattva aspiration. Because if we really do feel love and warmth for ourselves and for others, then what is it we most deeply want for ourselves and others? Take a moment to think about it. I mean, we all have these ideas of we want this, we want that, and it would be nice for, we have our thoughts of what we'd like for others. But think most deeply. What is it you most deeply want for both yourself and others? Just feel in and see what arises. Well, if we feel into it deeply, or even think about it logically and analytically, we realize that we really want the best for ourselves. We all want the best for ourselves. But there's a question. Are we being too small in what we want? What would be the most encompassing, beautiful, joyful thing we could possibly want for ourselves? Well, it would be the highest good for ourselves. And what's that highest good? Well, the highest good is to be filled with the qualities of heart and mind that would have traditionally been described as the virtues or perfections. It would be to be filled with joy and love and care and compassion. The highest good would be to live in the best possible way, to always be acting and thinking and feeling in ways which were conducive to the highest good. It would be to have a clear, open, lucid, awake mind, uncontaminated, not distressed by any tension, stress, pain, traumatic memories. It would be a mind of great openness, encompassing all. It would be awake. So the highest good we could aspire to for ourselves would be to awaken, and to be filled with all the benevolent qualities, benevolent, joyful qualities of heart and mind. And more than that, to act them out, to express, to extend our love, our joy, our care, our compassion, skillfully and effectively through the clarity of mind, the purity of intention, the care, the love, the compassion. It would be to be filled with these qualities and to express them and share them and act them out. And when we're filled with these qualities, you can't contain, you can't constrict love or compassion or joy. They naturally tend to spread out, to want to include others. So we would, as the highest, aspiring for the highest good, we would want others to experience what we're experiencing. We'd want them to be joyful, loving, happy, caring, compassionate, clear, awake, lucid. In short, we would want awakening for ourselves, awakening, enlightenment, lucidity, and we would want to bring that same supreme good to all others. And so we have just rediscovered for ourselves the Bodhisattva aspiration. So if we think and feel deeply into ourselves, we find that the Bodhisattva aspiration, the aspiration to awaken, to develop all positive qualities in ourselves in order to best serve, help, heal, awaken, and fill others with those same qualities, is the deepest desire of our heart-mind. It's not a sacrifice, it's enlightened self-interest. This is what we most deeply want for ourselves and for all others. But there's one thing more. Because we want Buddhahood for ourselves and others. But at a certain point on the path, we recognize that what we're wanting to be is what we actually always already are. That our true nature is Buddhahood. That what we're seeking is what's expressing us. that we always already are that which we most want. And that this aspiration to be of greater service to others, to awaken, to help, and to heal others is an expression of our nature. And that once we realize who we are and who others are, what could we want more? What could be a truer expression of who we really are than to wish the very best for all beings? And what could be a more appropriate wish for these beings who are by their nature Buddhists? So, Mel, can you put the pure perception and bodhicitta up? And there's this aspiration prayer, which now takes on a whole different meaning. I and all beings are primordially Buddha. Knowing this to be essentially true, I give rise to the awakened mind of bodhicitta, the bodhisattva aspiration of supreme enlightenment. So once we glimpse that who and what we are is what we're seeking, we are already that which we seek, then the bodhisattva aspiration, our spiritual practice, our loving kindness, our compassion, our forgiveness are natural expressions of our true nature. So it's like a 180-degree flip or a judo move from practicing to become to beginning to recognize that we always already are that which we've been seeking and expressing it. Yeah. How beautiful. Let's see, we're coming to the end. Probably have time for just one comment if anyone would like to share experience or comment or question, please do. Nice to see familiar friends here and new ones too. Yeah, just looking around. Yeah. Beautiful community. Anyone? Sudden silence. Okay. Okay, speak now or hold your peace until next week. Thank you. All right. So Mel introduced told us about the retreat and upcoming activities. I hope to be at the retreat in the fall, the first one since COVID hit. I hope you can make it too, and hope you have a wonderful week. And thanks so much for being together. It's been a delight to be with you. So let's offer the benefits. So knowing that we want to have the intention of sharing any benefits we've accrued from this practice with everyone, but knowing that the paradox here is that in anything we intend for another, we tend to experience and strengthen in ourselves. So giving away any joy or love or learning we've acquired during this time just increases it in ourselves. It's the beautiful paradox of giving, this kind of giving. So may all that we've experienced and felt and thought and learned, any insights, any experiences, any openings, any letting go, may all these serve to make us ever more effective instruments of service, that we may continue to help and ever better help, heal, serve, and awaken all beings. May it be so. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lama Roger. And for the rest of us, I don't want to break that mood at all. But while we're in that mood, consider clicking over to www.dzogchen.org and practicing that first paramita, generosity.